Welcome to the Adults Corner.
When nothing's off limits.
We're going to discuss
Masturbation.
anal,
Butthole foreplay.
BDSM.
Sex. No, we need to make that clear. I do not like things in my butthole.
Hey, and welcome back to the Adults Corner. We have the lovely Tess in on this episode from Empire Industry Finance, and she's here to teach us all about tax within the adult entertainment industry. And I know that I'm going to learn so much during this episode. I remember that Empire Industry Finance came and did a live workshop in the Mimi and Vovo studios last year.
Our first ever workshop.
And it was really successful. I think like 30 people showed up.
It was about 20, wasn't it? Or around. It was a good day. The food was great.
Yeah, the food was great.
I liked it. We learned a lot. I even learnt more than I've learnt with all the poor times. I feel sorry for Tess because Tess does my accounting, and sorry in advance now.
We've seen it all.
Okay, good. It's not just me. That makes me feel so much better. But let's get started talking about Empire, because I personally want to say I've learned so much more about accounting, tax, super, I guess how to spend my money, how to save my money, multiple different things just since joining and using your services. Because I had a couple of accountants that were mainstream prior to using your company, and they were fucking terrible. I just want to make this clear. And you guys have been a godsend and helping me and actually made me feel like I'm not a crazy person with people just missing things. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because I feel like, especially industry related, a lot of people out there are so lost when it comes to tax, and it's coming up to the end of financial year, and people need to know these things.
Yeah. That's really good feedback, because one thing that we really try to do is not just be accountants where, you come to us, you get your tax return done, see you in a year, that sort of thing. We actually really like to educate the clients. We like to, help them grow their brand, realize, they are a brand, they're running a business. And we like to help them steer in direction of ways they can set up for their future. So I'm really happy to hear that we've done that for you, because that's something that we really try to make, a really big priority for us.
And since becoming a subcontractor or sole trader at the beginning of last year, Dana introduced me to your services, and I as well have learnt a lot. And what I found really valuable from you guys was the little PDF that you send out that has a list of all the things that I can buy that I can get tax back on. I found that to be one of the most valuable things.
Yeah, so we have the Learning Hub on the website, which we are aiming to, have a new blog all the time. We're going to interview some really, different people in the industry, that sort of thing. We've got the tax deductions booklet, we've got the industry deductions guide, we've got all those sort of things. So we just figure the more information out there, then the more understanding everyone can get, and not have it be so scary. Everyone's frightened of tax. Everyone's, scared of the ATO. When really, it's easy for me to say, but it's just a part of life. And so the more you read about it, if we can help you understand it in an easier way than the ATO website, then I think, we're doing a good job.
Yeah, because your socials are pretty active, like especially you're smashing out TikTok videos lately.
We're attempting to be on TikTok. Yes, we are.
Yeah,
we are
TikToks.
attempting. Yeah.
Yep, you're doing
it's a lot of work, TikTok. Tell you what.
No, it is. It's so, I think social media in general is a lot of hard work, but you're really good with keeping up to date with posting different questions that people might be curious about and don't have answers to in your Instagram posts, like questions, general facts, blog articles, TikToks. Like you said, there's so much information on your page in comparison to other accounting pages. So it's really great to see.
And compared to other accountants, you make the process of doing a tax return so simple. You spell it out black and white, and there's no way that you can get it wrong. I've had friends who have like talked to me about their accountants and all of the digging that they had to do, all of this like all this paperwork that they had to hand in and like find. And when I contacted you, all I had to do was get this log on to my bank account and download from one date to another date and then send you that download. It was so simple.
And they did the rest.
It took 10 minutes. Yeah, and you guys did the rest.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, look, we like to make it as simple as possible. And that's mainly just, as I said before, everyone is so scared of going to their accountant. We have people coming to us that have 8 years plus of tax returns outstanding, just because the anxiety that they have about going to an accountant, one, to talk about what they do in the industry, or two, just the fact that they all think they're going to owe 100 grand. I don't know where this 100 grand is coming from, but everyone thinks they're, you know, even if they make 50 grand a year, they think they're going to owe the taxman 100 grand. But yeah, people just shouldn't be frightened, because yeah, we do try and make it really simple. I had a client come today to the office, and she said afterwards, you know, she was so nervous about turning up, about what it was going to be like. But you know, we're pretty easy breezy. We just like to pretty much take control of it, so you don't have to do anything, and we make sure it's right.
Well, to be honest, 3 years ago when I was earning a lot more than I am now, because I'm spending more than I'm earning at the moment with this physical business, great idea by me. Tess is like, don't hire anyone else. So I'm taking that advice. I'm not hiring
No
anyone
employees
else.
for you.
No more employees. They're fucking useless. I'm sorry. But what I learned with hiring employees, because I switched from sole trader to company, which I have had a ripple effect of just like issues from previous accountants from prior to your services, that like you and I have had to clean up their mess, and I still have like repercussions because of bad accountants making bad decisions and not passing over information and following through. Like when I got served in person this year about insurance I didn't even know I had for 4 years and hadn't paid, and Tess and I had to like figure out what the hell it was. And that was when I switched from sole trader to a company. I actually didn't know that because I became an employee of the company, that if you don't voluntarily go and get your own insurance, then you automatically get given eye care. That's the understanding I have.
Yeah, so in New South Wales, I believe the only place to get workers' comp is through eye care. So I thought you were signed up, you just never paid it or anything. So maybe your last accountant signed you up, or did you just not have it at all?
No, I had it. I just didn't know I had it and didn't know I had to pay for it until old mate turned up at the door and was like, bitch, you've been served. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so work cover is something that I think typically people have the understanding that work cover is, you know, if you run a trades business and you've got guys out on the tools or girls out on the tools, you know, or you run a cafe and you have employees, that's what work cover's for. But the rules in Australia, I think you had an actual employee at the time. So you have to get work cover for any employee you have if you're, you know, a sole trader or a company. But then also if you're an employee director of your own company, you need, in some states, you need work cover for yourself. It's non-negotiable. It's not a choice. It's the law.
I think that's what I fell under there. Because I also wanted to touch base on today as, well, two different things. As I think that there is a massive misconception within the industry itself, and I've kind of had conversations with a lot of other women over the years, people not really understanding that subcontracting within the industry, that they do work for themselves. And there's a lot of like kind of blame kind of going towards negligence, towards like, I guess, like venue owners, strip club owners, this and that. But at the end of the day, they work for themselves because they're a subcontractor or a sole trader.
If they're a sole trader, yeah.
So a sole trader is generally a subcontractor.
The definition of a sole trader is an individual running under their own name a small business. Yes. So yeah, that's why there are a lot of people that come to us and they have been working, earning money, that sort of thing, and they don't even have an ABN because they just don't understand that what they do, you know, whether it's full service or OnlyFans, or even just, you know, topless waitressing, they don't understand that they are actually running a small business and need this ABN. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know OnlyFans brought in, I think it was this year, the beginning of this year or the end of last year, that everyone on the platform must have an ABN if they're making money.
And that's because the ATO are starting to realize that, OnlyFans has been around a while and they're probably not getting as big a cut of it as they would like. And so your ABN is obviously linked to a TFN. So if they're making OnlyFans people sign up with an ABN, that's so they can get your TFN, and then the ATO can cross-match with OnlyFans and make sure that you're reporting all your income. Because I've had the ATO come to me twice now, and they have cross-checked someone's bank account with foreign income against their tax return, and they said the numbers don't match what's going on. So they don't need permission to look into your bank account. If you're earning 300 grand on OnlyFans and you're reporting 50 grand on your tax return from your day job, they'll pick it up, and you might not necessarily get penalized if you comply and you say it was an error, misjudgment, I didn't know, I actually wasn't trying to defraud you. They just want you to fix it up and pay the tax. However, if you try and hide it, you ignore their requests, you ignore their mail, ignore everything, that's when you get penalized. But if it's just, I had one client come to me and she had a day job, she was jumped online, she was on OnlyFans, she didn't consider it a job even because she had a day job. But how she got caught is, one, they cross-checked foreign income, and then she actually purchased a car. So they cross-checked the stamp duty, transfer papers. She bought a car for can't remember what it was, but obviously it was more than what her 50 grand salary would indicate she could afford. They looked into it, cross-checked, realized she didn't, declare any of her OnlyFans.
I just want to point out a TFN also means tax file number, because we have a couple of overseas people that listen. So that is like a social security number over in the States.
Pretty much, yeah. So tax file number, whenever you become employed by anything or you want to earn money, you need a tax file number. You only have one, your whole life. Same as an ABN. You'll only ever have one your whole life. You can run as many businesses under your ABN as you like. You'll only ever have that one ABN number. You can have different business names, but yeah, you'll never have more than one ABN. So some people come to us and say, I do this under one ABN, I need another one to do my OnlyFans, but that's not the case. It's all just the one ABN that's linked to your tax file number.
Yeah, that's so funny that the girl that got done thought that even though she was making money, she still had the mentality that she didn't think it was a job.
Yeah.
That blows my mind, because the amount of effort, time and energy that goes into just running an OnlyFans account and coming from the industry to think it's not a job. I actually get really annoyed when people online tell me to go get a real job or that I don't have a job, and I'm like, oh.
You have no idea what's involved.
If you're running online, you're working harder than 9 to 5 people.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There is no break.
I want to ask the exciting question is, what's the most you've ever personally seen someone earn in a year on OnlyFans?
So we have seen about 4 million turnover.
Nice.
Wow. I want to make friends with her.
Yeah.
Is it a girl or a guy?
It's a girl.
I want to make friends with her. Is she in the country?
Yeah, we only service Australians, so yeah.
Oh, she's in the country. Does she live in Sydney?
That's where I stopped. No more info.
She's like, no more. Juicy guys, slip me the deets later.
But look, we have clients that earn, $900. So we really see it vary. The ones that are doing it properly and they don't have another job, they're probably, it's roughly like 150K plus, I'd say. Yeah. From 50 up to $1 million.
Yeah, because I was going to ask what the average is. Say like the average.
Because there's really different ends of the spectrum. There's your middle runners that probably are doing it as a full-time job, but they're not really, doing it 24 hours a day doing it. They're roughly, I'd say, 50, 60K, enough so they don't have to get a day job. Then you've got the ones that do it as a side hustle that really technically, it's not a hobby, but they might make, between, I've seen, $900 versus roughly like 15, 20K. Or you've got the ones that do it seriously. They're about 150K upwards, 150K to just over $1 million, I'd say.
I think the ones that do over $1 million half the time, though, are the ones that are run by management teams as well. Because it's to create content, respond to DMs, promo across social. It's hard work to go full scale
like that. Yeah. It's a lot more common these days for people. I mean, not to ruin anyone's brand, but you know,
No.
people do have people helping them because it's just exhausting. That inbox does not stop. Like, and you just, unless you burn out. So you've got the people that try and manage it themselves. They have to take 2 months off because they burn out. Or you've got people that accept that maybe they, accept that maybe they need a little help. So then they kind of look to an agency to help them out or hire some people, you know, to help with their inboxes.
Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, because I've tried agencies and I currently do have an agency because I running too many businesses at one time. And
You've got too much going on. Yeah.
I have too much going on. Tess can like it shows physically, mentally, emotionally, and in my bank.
Financially.
And financially, like there's a lot going on. But I can say sometimes the management teams can be at a loss and do the opposite effect.
Yeah.
And they do actually cost a lot, especially when you're getting paid in US dollars and then you have to pay it back and it's double. Like if you have to pay someone, say, $8,000 US because you owe them for like 20, 30% or whatever it was. There was one that ended up being fucking 40% that I owed, and it was just ridiculous because they take from gross, not net. So you're paid net and they're taking from gross, which is like really tricky in their contracts to try to get them to change that as well. So I really think girls need to pay attention to contracts they're signing. Even get maybe, do you guys offer to read some of the contracts if girls?
Yeah. So we can definitely read contracts. I also say never sign with an agency unless you know someone and have spoken to them direct about how they deal. Because we had so many people come to us when OnlyFans started getting, really big. There was, and just, this is just a fact, there were a lot of males that was saying, hey, I can manage your OnlyFans for you. Give me 30% for 12 months. And these girls, they might have had contact with this guy for, and I know this of a few people, they had contact for like the first 3 months, then they never heard from them again, but they'd signed that contract where he got their funds, kept his share, then passed on the rest.
Oh, did he put his bank details in the background and then was meant to pay them?
Yeah, because
that is a red flag.
It was not cool, but she couldn't get out of it because she had this contract. So I just always say, if you're ever going to sign an agency, just speak to someone direct. They should be able to give, names out to people if they're happy to share that you've helped with, because otherwise you sign to this contract. It's like trying to break a lease. It's impossible. So
the second contract I signed, I went back and forth with my lawyer for like 5 weeks. And they promised me the world, this US team, and they definitely under-delivered. But I got out of that because they knew they under-delivered. So that was actually quite easy for me to get out of.
And you're also very smart in that you don't sign anything without going over it thoroughly. A lot of girls, they might be like starting to earn a lot of money and they're like, oh, I just need some help. And, the old send me a PDF, I'll sign it, send it back. And they don't read it. So any contracts to do, especially with your business, you wouldn't sign, well, I don't know if you would, but you wouldn't sign a home loan without reading it, So don't sign up for agencies until you really know what you're prepared for.
I'm not going to lie. I was one of those girls that used to sign contracts back in the day until I got burnt so much that I was like, fuck, I need to start reading.
Maybe that's why you have a lawyer now.
And because I know how to read a contract. I just want confirmation. Is there anything I need to chop, change, or swap? Can I actually get around this clause?
And if they're not willing to talk about it with you or discuss it, then don't go with them. Red flag. Yeah.
100%. Or make changes or like remove things. Like definitely.
Or be really vague in their answers.
The idea is to work together, not just them, to control you type of thing.
Yeah, that's where I kind of struggled with management team too, because I'm super like, I need to know. I need to be a part of it. You can't just run my shit and me just not know things. Because I'm very, I still like to be engaged. Like even at the moment, I have someone on my OnlyFans account to help me. Like I still responding to some messages and stuff and sending things. But like some days, like today, we've been at the studio since 8:30 and I'm here till 10 p.m. tonight. So I've been flat chat all day. So having someone to just like kind of help me with sending requested PPVs and things like that people are requesting from me helps me get back to them in a proper time instead of them waiting weeks.
100%, yep.
Because it's so
and then becoming
exhausting.
Disinterested and moving on.
But I also want to talk about, because this is really exciting for you guys, because there were awards last week, because we were meant to do this interview last week when you were in Sydney, but we got delayed. We blame Nikki. It's Nikki's fault. Nikki, Nikki the producer. It's
Shame.
Nikki's fault. It's really exciting because you won, was it one award or multiple awards?
We won an award at both events. So without going into
Oh.
detail, there were 2 events on the one night.
Yeah.
So we won awards at both of them. So that was pretty cool. I wrote it down, best industry supporting business. So we've won that twice in a year. And then at the other awards, we won something similar, supporting finance, something like that.
And these were both industry awards?
Yes, yep. So adult industry awards and adult choice awards. Yep.
I didn't know there was 2 running at the one night.
I didn't either.
They were competing awards. Yep.
They always are.
They were both run on the one night, and we split the team and we went to both because we, have the mindset we want to support the whole industry. Regardless of what's going on between the 2 owners, we're like, we just want what's best for the industry. Moving forward, I think there's probably space potentially for both awards, hopefully not on the same night moving forward, because then everyone gets to enjoy both of them. Like the more the better, I say.
Yeah. Because last year they were held at different times. Last year was Melbourne and Sydney, but see, because last year I won an award which was Female Industry Ambassador.
Oh, did you? That's a good one.
Yeah, well, I won that, but then when you win it and there's another award night, you're like, and someone else wins it, it kind of is just like, this is just stupid. So I'm not really 100% agreeable on like the award nights myself as someone a part of the industry. As a business, it would be great, but like as an individual, I'm kind of like, well, if there's 2 comps, like.
But then you have like the Golden Globes and the Oscars. You can take out one, you can take out both.
True, I don't really follow them either, so I guess I'm just not up to date. I didn't think about that. Good point.
Yeah,
Good
that's
point.
a great analogy.
Yeah.
Are you one of the only finance companies in Australia that works directly with adult industry people?
So I believe, so we're the only all-female ex-industry accounting firm, for people in the industry,
So what's your background and what made you get or the team be involved? Like,
So it started, this would be better coming from Linda. She's a good storyteller. So Linda's the founder. So she started, I couldn't tell you the year, but she was, she managed clubs and she did dancing, that sort of thing. And then she was also doing a accounting degree. And then so I think how it started is she had lots of friends and she started doing their tax returns, because they all came to her and they're like, I don't understand what to do.
yeah.
And then we met together. We actually both worked at Catch of the Day, or Catch it's known now, in the finance department. So that's how we met. And then she left to have a baby. And then when I left to have a baby, she said, hey, do you want to come work for me? And then she kind of realized she had so many industry people working, industry clients, that she's like, hey, we should probably branch this out, model it a bit differently, advertise it differently, kind of make it, sexy and fun. And also just, the fact that we can relate to people on their level. We can, as you said before, we can explain things in a way that they understand. We take the fear away from it. There's absolutely no judgment at all. We just thought, let's just, change our target market, and see how it goes. And it's been working really well. Like we don't, really pay that much for advertising in any way. It's just all word of mouth. People tell their friends they had a great experience with us. And then we just, meet new people, and the winning the awards is always a fun thing. Doing podcasts, that's always good exposure, but mainly just comes from word of mouth. We also go around and do lots of the sex worker outreach programs. So there's one in each state that we try and do. I think we're doing 3 just this month. Wow. So we go to those and just give the tax talks kind of like what we did when we came to Libby and Vovo, and just to help everyone out, because there's obviously people earning very different income levels. People are declaring money, people are not declaring money, people are on Centrelink, people are not on Centrelink. So we just kind of like to also give back. If victims of crime contact us and they've got some specific cases, we'll help them out of that. It's just, we kind of like giving back is very important to us also.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I think that's great. I didn't realize that you did all that stuff too.
Yeah, because we keep talking about we should tell people that we do it, but I don't know, you just get busy and you just, move forward with your life pretty much. But yeah, that's really helpful because people come to us and, even if you're earning 20 grand, you still need to lodge a tax return.
Yeah. 100%. I'm a little bit I saw one girl, I said this to Chloe today. It was a TikTok that didn't go viral like millions, but it hit the search page, and she was bragging about how she hit her monthly goal of like 15,000 or it was 7,000 or something like that. I don't know, and how she didn't have to pay tax. She got money back, and I was just like, I don't like seeing girls post videos like that because it makes it so confusing to people who aren't in the industry and I think that's when people that are outside of the industry brought up the whole you don't pay taxes, like people in the industry aren't paying taxes, aren't doing their taxes.
Yeah, look, first of all, don't believe anything anyone says online or in any of those, so-called support groups on Facebook, because people come to us and they say, oh, I saw on this group that, I don't have to pay tax, or I can declare my Botox or my boob job or whatever. But I mean, I do tax returns day in, day out for people, full service sex workers, OnlyFans, they're all paying tax. Yeah. So I don't know if they're just, to be honest, talking shit. Or they're just not filing a tax return, or they have a really dodgy accountant. So they're my only thoughts that I have about that. There are lots of people online that like to give accounting advice that obviously have no knowledge of, the actual tax laws. So yeah, those just don't get tax advice from Facebook. That's all I can say in regards to that. But the only thing I can think of that people might not be understanding is that your income from OnlyFans doesn't attract GST. That's the only thing I can think of, unless alternatively, perhaps she had a day job and she was taxed, and what they were taxing her on during her day job was less than what her total yearly figure was, including OnlyFans. So she got a refund. Maybe it does work out funny that way. If, for instance, they didn't do their, full-time 9 to 5 job the whole year, but they, at the start of the year, were taxed as if they were going to be there the whole year. Yeah. That might have been it. Or alternatively, there are kind of situations where, yeah, sure, you might make 30K on OnlyFans and, it turns out you spent so much money getting photo shoots and booking hotels and filming content that, you made a loss or something, and then that loss was enough, you'd already been taxed through a 9 to 5 job, and that's how you get taxed back. Because the other misconception we have is people think if they spend things on the business, they're going to get a tax refund.
That's what I was literally saying to Chloe, because I was going to ask you. I've been sitting here waiting patiently. I was going to put my hand up. No, and be like,
everyone's like, but what about my phone? I use my phone for work. Surely I'm getting that back.
No.
So this is why I think I made a TikTok video on this, is that you can literally only get back from the ATO what you have physically paid. So if you've had money withheld from your day job, cool, that's money you've paid. You didn't actually pay it, physically, it came out of your wages. Alternatively, you have your PAYGI, which is your installments you pay throughout the year. If you physically pay that, meaning you pay it out of your bank account into the ATO account, then that is your money to get back. But if you've just, made 40 grand and spent 20 grand on photography and advertising, you're not getting $20,000 back because you haven't paid anything. So I don't know if it's because the terminology, I've got to lodge my tax return. I've got to lodge my tax return. Maybe the word return is confusing people, or people are used to, working at Macca's or something 9 to 5. And at the end of the year, you might get $1,000 bucks, $1,000 back when you do it. But as a sole trader, it's not even really that common to get a refund back, because either you're not paying anything in your first year because you don't know what you have to pay, so there's nothing to get back. Or if you're paying your quarterly tax installments, if it's the right amount that you should be paying, then again, there's nothing to get back. The only reason why you get a refund back as a sole trader is if you have overpaid throughout the year. And that means come out of your money that you've earned and you have paid it to your ATO account, and it's sitting there with the ATO. Yeah. So it's not just like free money because you bought a car, you should get it back. That's probably the toughest thing that we try and teach clients, because even today I had an email from a client who Yeah, she said, but I use my phone for work and, I had some advertising costs. So surely I'm going to get something back. But, I looked up her account and she hadn't paid a cent the whole year. So, you just didn't make money and you don't have to pay any tax, but you're not going to get anything back.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest misconception I think that people have.
I think also because it's like, say if I went out and I bought a pair of shoes for work, I can't claim the whole amount spent on shoes. Isn't it like up to 30% or something of the total price of the shoes?
So that's a business percentage. So it's in the sense of, if you buy a new MacBook or something,
Yep.
and, you buy it 100% for Mimi and Bovo.
Yep.
So, it's going to be for people signing in or making bookings or whatever. That you can deduct the whole thing, right?
Okay.
Again, you're not getting that money back. It's just going to reduce your tax payable.
Yeah, reduce it, yeah.
Whereas if you buy, you might be OnlyFans, you might do half of it. Actually, I had a client today. She came in, she bought an iPad throughout the year. She said, look, to be honest, I use 50% for study and 50% for filming OnlyFans. So we can take up a 50% deduction on that.
Okay.
So look, shoes and clothing is a topic that the ATO love to discuss because they love this idea of if it's of a personal nature, it's not deductible. So if you just go to a shoe shop and buy a general pair of shoes, but you happen to wear them to walk around, the studio, it's not really deductible. The ATO claim that clothing and attire is only deductible if it's deemed like you were walking down the street and it was obvious what you were wearing that clothes for. So like a chef is wearing their chef jacket. A doctor is, has their stethoscope and everything. So if you're walking around in like lingerie or a little, tennis player outfit or something, you could just be, living your life, but you also could be going to a costume party or going to see a client or something like that. So that's where we tend to be anything you kind of wear at client's request in the bedroom for filming, that sort of thing. We take as deductible, but, we have people that say, oh, cool. Well, all my leisure wear I wear that to work because that's my look. And it's like, but, there's no way to prove that you're just wearing that one, Lorna Jane outfit just to work because your clients like the athletic wear. So that's probably the hardest thing we have trying to talk to clients because they say, well, I bought it for work. But, if you worked at Target and you bought black pants for work because that's what you have to wear, those black pants aren't deductible. So it's no different just because you're in the industry.
Yeah. I think when I came to you, I hadn't received a personal tax return, any money back in years. And that's because, remember when I started with you, my personal tax was combined with my company tax? It was all one thing on the back end of Xero because you use Xero.
Yeah. Both bank accounts or something running in the 10. Was that it? I remember there was something with yours.
Yeah, look, my accounts were pretty fucked, let's be honest. They were fried. And I don't even know. Don't even get me started how I did life. But I had the highest anxiety before I came to you. Remember, I was so stressed. Oh, no, it's because Linda was my first point of contact with your business. So, Linda, I was so stressed with her because my accountant that I was using before you guys gave me the most anxiety. Every time she emailed me, I got so anxious opening it up because she always wanted money from me. Like, I had to pay my quarterlies. She was after like 50 grand a quarter off me, some fucking ridiculous amount. And I'm like, I honestly, like, how is she doing my and literally then my quarterly started like dropping when I came to you guys, and you guys sorted things out and separated all my businesses into their own businesses and my personal.
Everything, yeah. The main thing is because I think because you moved from sole trader to company. So
But that was 3 years prior.
The accountant just hadn't yet gotten to your file, I think.
Mate.
Yeah, so look, I guess all I can say is the most important thing when it comes to bank accounts is have one just for business. If you change from sole trader to company or sole trader to trust, it's a whole new bank account. Like in the eyes of the ATO, a company is a separate legal person. A trust is not technically separate legal person, but it's a separate entity. So that needs its own bank account too. So, and if you're going to remain a sole trader, just jump online to whoever you already bank with, except Commonwealth, because I don't like them. So anti-sex industry, it's just...
Who would you recommend?
Mate, they really are. I got denied a merchant account from them. Yeah, I got denied a merchant account from them and ANZ.
We've had someone who she's been pre-approved for a loan, and when I guess they were going through the final step, they saw the word OnlyFans on her tax return, and they just cancelled the loan, just like that. They are very, except unless you make $4 million, and then they'll approve your loan. But
yeah, because you can just buy a house outright.
They really don't even try and hide.
No, they don't, because when I got denied from opening a merchant account for my website, Cherry DT, that I created years ago, that was a combination of blogs and pornography, they literally gave me no reason. And when we tried to dispute it and I sought like legal advice, they literally said, oh, you can't reapply until you rectify the reason as to why we denied you. And I'm like, you didn't give me a fucking reason that you denied me. It was just plain obvious because of my industry. And ANZ didn't even start the merchant process. They literally said, we're not going to approve this. The guy on the phone goes, 100% guarantee this won't be approved. There's no point trying because it takes like 3 months to get a
PayPal are
merchant.
openly, not supportive of the industry. And also those Square readers. I know a lot of people are trying to get a Square reader. They were holding about $15,000 of a client's money because she got a Square reader, thought it was going to be easy. And they're like, no, we need all this proof as to where this money actually came from. Like, what are you studying? That sort of thing. Because, she had a cover. And in the end, we produced everything and they said, okay, we'll give you your money, but we're no longer a good fit for you or something. So you can't keep, your reader.
Well, many moons ago, I made the mistake of when I was using Soup app and I switched from them and I was like, I can do this myself and make a private Snapchat account and open a PayPal. And in 4 days, I got in trouble and they held $8,000 off me for 6 months. And I was like, little fuckers, I got it back. But same thing happened to Chloe. She never got her money back.
I never got my money back.
Off PayPal? No.
No, it was only $1,500 though, thankfully. Not a big loss.
Oh. If anyone ever tries to open PayPal, I'm just like, do not even risk it. Don't think you're the exception. Like, they will keep your money.
Well, I'm not going to lie, even opening a physical business for me and having my name attached to it, I've had a few issues like here and there just because my name's also associated with the industry. And trying to get a payment gateway for the website when we first put it up, remember, in the very beginning? We got denied by so many people and they were like, no, we need more proof. And I'm like, I have a fucking website. I have a physical address. Like, you can turn up here if you want. There's photos of the studio and they were just like, nah.
Because people will try and make up anything to get, like a merchant facility. I mean, I get it. It would be so handy and so much easier. But yeah, banks are not wanting a bar of it.
Do you have a bank that you would recommend to sex workers?
Look, I haven't heard bad things about NAB or Westpac. I thought ING was all okay, but then I only heard one thing about someone being told that, if you deposit any more cash, we're going to have to close your account. That was only once. I haven't heard anything else. But yeah, I actually met an escort the other night and she worked at NAB and she was obviously saying that they were like fine with it. So I trust NAB and I haven't heard any bad things about Westpac either.
I haven't heard any bad things about NAB, to be honest, as well.
And then there's that Upbank, but Upbank is only online. So, and they only have an app. They don't even have a website. So, but they promote that they are sex industry friendly. Yeah. But I think it would be the case of having to go to like Australia Post to deposit all your cash, and some people just can't deal with that.
It took me so many years because when I lived in Newcastle, I saved up quite a fair bit of money because Newcastle is like so much cheaper in comparison to Sydney. Sydney's an absolute rot. I had been trying to find like either buy a property or buy an investment property for I reckon 3 or 4 years. And then I came across, Linda offered me so much good advice and I had all this money saved and I was like, this is what I want to do. I had met with 4 financial planners. I had met with I had accountants and accountants like, no, I have no idea what you should do. Like, nah, like I just do your accounting. Like, and I'm like, you can't even like have a conversation with me and offer some ideas. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, and financial planners were just offering advice that would make them money in the long run, which maybe that's how they work. That's fucking fine dandy by them. And then I got to the headspace and I was like, why the fuck am I asking someone what to do with my money if I make more money than them? how the fuck did I get here? So I didn't take their advice because I was like, I earn more money than them. Clearly, I'm doing something better than them, so I'm not going to take their advice. So that was my headspace at the time, and I still stick by that because I'm like, I'm not going to go to someone who's earning less to get advice off them.
And also, if they haven't actually gone through the process themselves. So, you know, the people you go to, you know, how many properties do they own? Do they have a share portfolio themselves, you know, or is it just kind of like textbook answers? So I think that's why it works best, you know, from Linda and myself, the way we structure it is because, you know, Linda, I think she'll be cool with me saying this. She has her own self-managed super fund. You know, she has probably 6 properties in her name. I have 3 properties.
I will get there. I am coming up behind you, girls. I will get there eventually.
And also, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Like, it really doesn't. So I think a lot of accountants, we've found they like to kind of promote a bit of fear to clients because then they're needed and they're required, and they can charge, you know, X amount of dollars to go into their office and, you know, sit there and pretend that you have to be there for an hour. When, yeah, really you don't. Like going into an accountant's office is kind of old school. It's not really that necessary anymore. And, you know, buying an investment property is relatively simple, depending. You've just got to talk to us and you've kind of just got to plan for the next 2 years. Like, if you can tell us what your goal is, if you want to buy an investment property, if you want to start investing, cool, we'll work with you so that over the next 2 years, you can set yourself up so that you're ready to go. You know, the one downfall people have is they want to avoid paying tax. And then in 6 months' time, they come to us and they say, I've got 80 grand in a safe. You know, I want to buy a property in 2 months' time. And it's like, cool. Well, you've been avoiding tax for 4 years. You've got all this unbanked money. You can't buy a house in cash. The only way to prove what you earn is your tax returns, and you've been avoiding paying tax. So it's just not going to work. You have to set up like a 2-year plan. You can do it if you're really successful in 1 year. But obviously, you know, you're going to have to go through a different lender, maybe slightly higher interest rates, that sort of thing. But you can't have it both ways. You can't avoid tax and then want all the extra bonuses things.
Do you have any recommendations for bookkeeping and keeping track of finances and how one would do that?
If they're not using an agency.
Yeah, if they're not using
an accountant.
Yeah, so we say the minimum thing you should do is, whether you're just starting out or you've just decided now that you're really going to get your act together, is one, as I said, open that new business account. So have it just client deposits, you know, cash outs, you know, direct transfers, anything like that just goes in this one account. It doesn't have to be a specific business, you know, account that the bank sells you. It just has to be an everyday account you label business. When you get the EFT card or direct debit card, just write on it business. Use that for anything deductible, right? Then open a second everyday account, call it tax savings, because the biggest downfall is people earning decent money and they do not put money aside from tax. That it's always going to end badly. I can go into that a bit later, but if you're going to do nothing else about keeping records, just track your income. That's what we say. Just if you don't do anything else at the end of each month, you know, write in a notepad, you know, track it on an app. The ATO even have a free app. I think it's called My Deductions, and you can track your income. You know, there's an app that's coming out soon, My Red Light. She does diaries, but she's also opening an app where you can track income. There's so many, there's a tip tracker. You know, you could use that. If you're going to do absolutely the bare minimum, open 2 new accounts and track your income. So that's what I'd say. Lots of people come to us with their own little spreadsheet, you know, or literally they'll take photos of a notepad from, you know, their shifts at work. Or you can export from apps. But yeah, the minimum is just to make sure that you're at least tracking your income, because you've got to at least have some idea as to what your, you know, earning potential is. Like, it's your business. You should know what your business is making. 2, it's for GST, because if you hit that 75 grand mark, then you've got to register for GST. And 3, it's to be prepared for tax. You know, we always recommend people use it's paycalculator.com.au. You just put in what your income's going to be and it spits out what that tax is. It helps you break it down weekly, fortnightly, monthly. We're on it every day because it just is a quick way to see that, cool, so I've actually made 50 grand this year. I really need to start thinking about what that tax is going to be. Yeah. So I would say, if you're not going to use a proper bookkeeping service, and that not everyone needs to do it, just, you know, an Excel template, a tracking app, just something, and just bare minimum track your income.
And what's the app that you recommend for people to keep track of with their receipts?
So I mean, if you're a client of ours, we have a Dropbox, so you can just load it straight up to Dropbox. Other people, the ATO have an app, My Deductions. It's actually pretty good. You take a photo of your receipt. I think it can even read some of the data. You save it down, and then you can even just export it and send it to us. So I actually really like their app. If not, what are some other expenses? If not, just keep a folder in your inbox of all the, most people buy things online. Or just have a folder in your photos and take a photo of it. When you go to Honeybird Dad or Sexyland or something, take a photo, throw it out, and you're done. You don't have to, it's very old school to come to us with, like a folder full of receipts. There's just make it digital. And
I used to do that and have them in a folder. I've still got them saved for like 5 years or something. You have to keep your receipts, isn't it?
Yeah.
5 years, yeah.
Tax does suck, but I feel like we in Australia are so blessed to have Empire available to us, who are just so easy to deal with. And yeah, thank you for existing.
That's all right.
Thanks for putting up with my shit.
Hopefully people didn't fall asleep, but, try and make it as interesting as we can.
Do you want to plug in your website right now?
So it's empireindustryfinance.com.au. We have an Instagram and a Twitter and now a TikTok. So yeah, and also just take a look around our website because we've got frequently asked questions. We've got the Learning Hub, on the Instagram, like you said before, we're always answering questions. So, just take a look around and have a read and try and learn some stuff. Yeah. Well, I'll be speaking to you soon, Dana.
Yeah, I'll talk to you probably tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. Okay, bye guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye, Tess. Thank you.
Bye.